Good evening, everybody. My name is Ian C, and I'm your commissioner for Season 7 of the f13 Bloodbowl League. We have an exciting league this season. We have a full 32 teams, which is excellent news, and we have a whole bunch of new players as well, so welcome to you all. I'll go through the names as I pull them out, but it's nice to see a whole bunch of new blood coming in to shake up the league and hopefully give the established players something to think about. As well as new players, we also have some other new things in the game. We have obviously a new edition of the game, the Chaos Edition, with 3 new teams, all of which are represented in the new league. And we have a lot of players who are playing brand new teams this season as well, including players who previously had monstrous teams for previous seasons. In an unusual move by Cyanide, they've made Chaos Edition backwards compatible with Legendary Edition, so those of you who are still playing with the Scrubs Edition can play with those of us with the shiny new Chaos Edition. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as if any of the bugs from Legendary Edition have been fixed, so we're still playing with the same old issues that we're all come to know and love, or at least come to know and hate less than we used to. But we take what we can get, so I guess thank you Cyanide for making at least that concession to sanity. So to introduce the league to those of you who are new, this is going to be a 4 divisions in the league, so each of which has 8 players. So everyone will play seven games during the normal course of the championship. These will be seeded according to the tiers which Falk has already set up for us. After the 7 championship matches are run, the top 4 players from each division will go into a 16-player playoff, which is a knockout cup, the winner of which will be the overall winner of the league. And then the 4 players at the bottom of each division will go into a 16-player fail-off, which is also a knockout to determine who's least worst at the game. Becoming a champion or the fail-off winner is a mark of greatness, so something to aspire to for you there. We have a couple of notable losses this season. Comstar decided to take a season out while he is doing diplomatic stuff for the US State Department, and we're also still missing Andy Davo, who was a previous multiple winner and decided not to join us for season 6 and is also not joining us for season 7. We'll see whether he comes back for later seasons. But for now, our reigning champion is Ruvelt, who cruised to victory with his Dead President's team. He's now coming back with a brand new team. We'll come to that later. But everybody else, actually there's a lot of new teams this season. We have, let's go through the stats. We have 9 brand new teams, all with a TV of 1,000 or less. And we have 17 teams with a TV of 1,400 or less. These are generally new teams who have come in from the feeder league or from similar avenues. In all, we have 2 Amazon teams, 2 Chaos teams, 3 Chaos Dwarf teams, 1 regular Dwarf team, it's not the mighty Beardstorm of previous legend, it's a brand new team, 1 High Off team, 1 Human team, 1 Khorne team, 3 Lizardman teams, 2 Necromantic teams, 2 Norse teams, 1 Nurgle team, 1 Ogre team, 4 Orc teams, 4 Skaven teams, by far the most popular races this season, 2 Underworld teams, 1 Vampire team, and 1 Wood Elf team. So no Dark Elves, no Halflings, not surprisingly, no Goblins, no Khemri this season. Proudfoot has chosen to play a different team. So it's shaping up to be an exciting season. So again, for those of you who aren't aware, the tradition is that the 4 divisions are named after cheesy wargaming books. Previously there were cheesy role-playing books, but I don't have any cheesy role-playing books anymore because I gave them all away. So without ado, let me just introduce you to what we're going to be playing with this season. We have, first of all, we have Warhammer 40k Division, we have Hail Caesar Division, we have Hordes Division, and we have Temirkan Throne of Chaos Division. All of the teams have been arranged into tiers based on their performance previously. Everyone we don't know about, or everyone who's new to f13 Blood Bowl this season, is in tier Noob. All the people who have previously won or previously done extremely well, according to Falk's rather arcane algorithm, are in the top tier. Everybody else is in tiers 1, 2 or 3, depending on how good they are. Tier 1 being the best tier, isn't the top tier, and tier 3 being the just a bit better than the people we have no idea how well they played tier. As is traditional, I have a hat, my hat in fact, which is I'm going to use to seed the divisions. We're going to start from the bottom, we're going to go up from there. So let's start with the tier noob players. There are 8 of these, and these are all the people who are new to f13 Blood Bowl this season. I'm going to go from left to right, so we're going to start with the Warhammer 40k division and move through to Tamerkan division. So the first one is going to be for Warhammer 40k division, and it is Denicia, a friend of mine from California. She's playing an Amazon team, the Biolab Sea Bears. Shout out to you, Denicia. Next up, for the Hail Caesar division, we have Z22, a brand new player again for the F13 season. He's known on the F13 on the Blood Bowl coach list as Gort, and he has the Blitzburg Brewers. I can only assume that Zs21 and previously were already taken. He is in the Hail Caesar division, and now we have the Hordes division newbie, who is Will Listerman, a friend of mine from England, and he has a dwarf team, the only dwarf team in fact, called Keep Rolling. Next up, for Tamerkan Throne of Chaos division, we have RK47, known as on the Blood Bowl coach list as R3D Knight, and he is Knights of Codexia, a human team, or the human team as it happens. Next up, back to the Warhammer 40k division, and we have Lightfax, his Chaos Dwarf team, Bony Slaves, Iron Beards. He's a friend of somebody's on the forum. I suspect he's a friend of Siofen's or Ingmar's, depending on how it works. Next up, for Hail Caesar, we have Jasper, who is a quarter to 3 Blood Bowl or F13, Broken Forum Blood Bowl refugee. He's come to join us this season, and he has a Skaven team called the Understone Raiders. Next up, for Hordes division, we have Spain, otherwise known as Chief Tripod Bear, and he has Bring Back the Biff, one of the many orc teams taking part in the season this time. Which means that finally our last noob is for Tamerkan division, and it is Mr. Denicia, Fildregar, the Changer of Minds Chaos team. So now we're going to Tier 3. There are 4 of these players. These are players who have not exactly set the world on fire with their Blood Bowl prowess, but we know how good they are because they played at least some games with us in previous seasons. Sometimes it's not necessarily due to the fact they're rubbish, sometimes it's due to the fact they've been playing goblins or halflings or other less competitive races. So anyway, the first one of these is for the Warhammer 40k division, and it is Swiftblade. He's actually quite a good player, but he's only played 1 season, so we'll see if he moves up for the rankings after this one. He has an orc team, the Camptown Orc Boys. Next up, for Hail Caesar, we have Gruntle and his Chaos team, the Nifty Helmets. This is quite a well-established team. I'm quite surprised they're still in Tier 3, because I figured they'd be moving up by now. They're quite a well-developed team. Next up, for the Hordes division, is Lukton and his Imiron's G6 crew, a Norse team. Again, I asked the question last season, I still didn't get an answer, who a Miron is, what a G6 is, and why it requires a crew. Maybe he'll resolve that for us this time. Which means the last Tier 3 guy for Tamerkan division is Satael and the Vast Mountain Raiders, an Orc team, a brand new team for this season. Now we're moving to Tier 2. These are solid players who know a little bit about the game and generally can be relied on to give a tough match, but they tend to choke at key moments or are otherwise crap. I count myself amongst this number. The first one is going to be for Hordes division, for 40k division, and it will be Falconeer and the Beljar United, an Amazon team. Falconeer is actually travelling at the moment, so he'll miss his first match. He's going to forfeit it, so whoever is drawn against him first is going to miss the opportunity to beat up some AV7 ladies. I am sorry for your loss. Next up is for Hail Caesar division is Siofen and the Mutiny, a Norse team. Siofen is pronounced to rhyme with no fun because that's what it's like when you meet her. I got your number, lady. Next up for the Hordes division is Teleku and his Hazardous Hippies. For some reason he was left off the rankings for this season. I can assume it's because Falk missed his name, but I inserted him to Tier 2 anyway because that's where he was the last time he was ranked. He's in Hordes, and then we move to Tamerkan, and Tamerkan is Tier 2 is Proudfoot, or Proud FT, and the Purple Inferno, the only Khorne team taking part in this season. Now we're moving back to Warhammer 40k division, and we have Seller, or Keller, and his Chemical Elvers, a high-off team. Next up for Hail Caesar is Hamish M and his Zala Dwellers, one of the many Skaven teams. Next up for the Hordes division is Reborn, and his Reborn's Wrestlers, the only Ogre team in the division and the only Ogre team in the last few seasons. Which means the last one for Tamerkan division is in fact myself, that is Ian C, and my new Skaven team, Persecution. Now we're going to tier 1. These are solid players who are all very likely to go all the way and likely to put a solid showing into the playoffs. Discount these players at your peril. So the first one, again for the Warhammer 40k division, is going to be Ulysses and his Mini-Zillers Lizardman team. Next up for the Hail Caesar division is Avaya and Bleating, the Nurgle team. The only Nurgle team. Now moving on to Horde division, and that is Drog and one of the other Lizardman teams, Hunker Burn in Love. Now we're moving on to Tamerkan division, and we have Ezrast and 8 Eyes, one of the Underworld teams taking part this season. Back to 40k, and it's Carnifex and the Carnifex's Cripplers, Lizardman team. Very well developed, very strong, terrifying Lizardman team. I'm quite glad I'm in a different division to him. Next for Hail Caesar is Eldaic, who is known as Ramas otherwise, and he has a Skaven team called the Ermin Vermin. He's done reasonably well with those of previous seasons, so I expect to see him do equally well this season. For Hordes division, we have Modern Angel, aka Broktoon, and a brand new Chaos Dwarf team called Team Power Volcano. And finally for Tamerkan division, the last tier 1 player is Lamaros and Best with the Mess, the other Underworld team. Now moving into the top tier, these are the 4 players who have all done extremely well. They include our previous reigning champion, as well as some previous champions and previous semi-finalists. First one for 40k division is Amigrim, who has managed to reach the top tier despite playing a vampire team, so that's quite an achievement in itself. His team is Insatiable, and they are in the 40k division. For Hail Caesar, the top tier contestant is Ruvalt, the reigning champion, and his first ladies Chaos Dwarf team. He's continuing the gimmick from his dead presidents, except this time he's on ladies. And for Hordes, we have Catford, or Chleis. I'm still going to insist that he's Welsh with that spelling. And his necromantic team, Alive Not Dead. Which means the final top tier player is Ingmar, and his new necromantic team, The Band. Terrible Band of F13 gimmick. He's in Tamerkan Throne of Chaos division. So let's just recap very quickly what we have. Let's go through the divisions one at a time. So in 40k division, going through them in no particular order, we have Migrim, Carnifex, Ulysses, Sella, Falconeer, Swiftblade, Lightfax, and Denicia. For Hail Caesar, we have Z22, Jasper, Gruntle, Hamish M, Sjöfen, Aldaik, Avaya, and Ruvalt. For Hordes division, we have Catford, Modern Angel, Rog, Reborn, Teleku, Nupton, Spain, and Will Listerman. And finally in Tamerkan Throne of Chaos division, we have Ingmar, Lamaros, Ezrast, Ian C, Proudfoot, Satayel, Fildrigar, and RK47. So there we have it. 32 teams, 4 divisions, 7th season, 7 games each. Let's get this on. Let's play, ladies.